5 favorite Coke rappers. So we got a lot of feedback from that topic, a lot of different varying points of view, which is the point of this entire thing. So shouts out to everybody who has decided to hit that subscribe button and join us as we continue to crank out this logical content. We, of course, most certainly appreciate you for it, man. We love making these videos and discussing these topics. So thank you for joining us for the ride. And for anyone else who happens to catch wind of what we like to do over here in our little corner of the internet, go ahead and do your boys a big old solid. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. Now, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get right into it. We are going to start things off talking about comments that Fat Joe made with respect to his feelings on Young Thug's RICO case. Now, Fat Joe clearly has a problem with the fact that lyrics from Young Thug's music are being used by the prosecution in an attempt to indicate him on charges of guilt for his role in this whole YSL thing. Fat Joe does not believe that rap lyrics should be used as evidence because, in his estimation, they are false. They're not true. They're lies. So, Fat Joe made an appearance on the new CNN show with Charles Barkley and Gayle King. I believe the name of the show is called King Charles or something to that effect. That, of course, is not the point of this. That is less relevant than what Fat Joe had to say, of course. So I'm going to play 2 snippets from this interview because I think that these 2 snippets that we are going to play are going to encapsulate the essence of what it is that we are going to get at with Fat Joe's comments. So here we go. This is the first of 2 snippets. Fat Joe does not like the fact that Young Thug's lyrics are being used against him in court. And here is his explanation as to why.
So we want to start with you because you've been behind the push to stop this kind of prosecution. What's your reaction when you see that he's on trial, accused, and that his lyrics can now be used against him in this trial?
That's horrible. It's a travesty. I've been rapping professionally for 30 years. I've lied in almost 95% of my songs. I'm being honest. Lied.
Like how? What do you
just
mean?
go. I write like I feel that day. I'm just being creative. If you could probably you couldn't build the jail high enough for that on songs, which are all untrue. What I am is a family man, the person who gives back to my community all the time, open businesses in my community. So the music would never amount to the actual person, Joseph Cartagena. So what's even more horrible is that the district attorneys, they know those lyrics ain't real. They know that's creativity. But if it helps their case, they'll use it to put these guys in jail. And here we're having a fun show about it and discussion. But there really is 6 defendants in Atlanta who might spend the rest of their life in jail for something that's totally not true.
Yeah, you're saying this is
Okay, so that's the first one. And then we're going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit to the second one. So here we go.
Scorsese should be in jail for 10 million years. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor. He should be in jail for 20,000 years. If we're going to take everything that's a fantasy.
Why should Arnold be in jail?
Because this guy killed 10,000 people in movies.
Oh.
So it's like, if we saying, I'm telling you, I lied for 20, 30 years of my life on music, just being creative and telling stories. How could you be charged for your imagination?
But one of the things the prosecutors say too, Joe and Laura, help me with this. They say the things that he rapped about have actually happened. That's one of the arguments.
If you're a gangster rapper, whatever you rapping about happens in every inner city, and if you can make it close enough, then you could use that to your advantage. The truth is, if you really want to put these gentlemen in jail and they're really criminals, use real evidence, use real facts.
But there's
all right, so that's pretty much the gist of it. So obviously there's the conversation about where do you draw the line between art and evidence, and Fat Joe is arguing that rap lyrics aren't even true. This is art. My lyrics are imagination. So on and so forth. So very interesting because we often talk about the dichotomy between reality and this music stuff when it comes to how people glean the music and how that can influence behavior. So that just is a way for me to sort of preface our commentary on this topic by saying that we have touched on this type of thing in various videos in the past on this channel. Go ahead and check out some of the older uploads if you want. This is somewhat in our wheelhouse in terms of subject matter. But what did you make of what Fat Joe had to say there about lyrics being lies and how directors and other people in art should be held to the same standard because they're essentially doing the same thing?
Well, I'll say first, my initial reaction was, I was still shocked. I know Fat Joe lies. I know everybody from that generation lied, but I would, if somebody had asked me a question, I would have said 80 to 90%. And for him to say 95, I was just floored in so many ways. The amount of conviction that he said it with also caught me by surprise. So I was, stunned a little bit because I felt like there was still some aspects of which he was talking about certain things that, had validity to it. 95% is a high number. But I already know that people like Fat Joe, people especially from that generation, did a lot of embellishment, did a lot of fabrications. I know for sure they weren't on a boat in Colombia talking to Poppy. I knew they weren't doing that. So, but that I baked that into my 80%. 95% seems pretty high. But and then my second thought about all of this, went a little galaxy brain. I feel as though what he's doing here is trying to get ahead of something. He recently came out telling everybody. Now we had a discussion about Joey Crack. You mentioned him, his crack going on about a couple of pods ago.
Yeah.
But then he revealed that before this, he revealed that the crack came from him just being fat and girls calling out the crack of his ass. And then it kind of stuck with him because, well, he's just Joey Crack. And I think that's when I first heard that, I laughed because it was like, oh man, he got us. He thought, he was peddling that cane, that rock. But actuality, it was just his overweightness that he was actually shouting himself out on every song. But then this came out, and it seems a little covering up the tracks type of talk, in the sense where also in this case, Young Thug lawyer came out and said that Thug stands for truly humble under God or something.
God. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's not brilliant, but brilliant, right? If you want to make a defense, go ahead and just shoot your shot. So I'm not saying that Fat Joe was some big kingpin that he actually claimed that he was in his songs. I believe he was lying in most of that, but I feel like it was embellishment. So I feel as though he may have had connections with some real Boricuas or whatever you say in New York, because these guys, these rappers, they like to be attached to the guys who are actually doing the stuff, pulling from that lifestyle, if you will. And he may have in his histories stuff that could get him indicted, per se. Now, this is my galaxy brain. I feel like he's trying to get ahead of the curve by doing his own brand of truly humble under God by saying, oh, Joey Crack, no, that was talking about the crack of my ass because I'm so fat. And then here going, man, I lied in 95% of my rhymes. So me talking about pedaling on the block and doing all this other stuff, I was just talking jibber jabber rap lyrics. I wasn't being serious, guys. So I feel like part of this is him trying to get ahead of the curve, if you will, just in case there could be some reasons that he could get indicted down the line. I feel as though that's where this is coming from, because all of this is weak to me. So the explanation of crack is weak to me, and this explanation that I lied in 95% of my rhymes. So outside of him just being a big fat liar, I think that he might be trying to cover some tracks here. I could be very much wrong. So those are my thoughts 1 and 2. So what are your thoughts on this situation covering Mr. Fat Ass and him lying in 95% of his rhymes?
Yeah, like you, I thought that it was interesting that his number was so high, because obviously there's no way for you to accurately know what percentage it is. You literally have to go and count. How many songs has Fat Joe done? He would have to. He would have to count how many songs have I been on, and he would literally have to just sort of do simple math to figure out what percentage of all of the songs I've been on have I been not truthful. So, but the fact that he said straight from the hip 95% speaks to how sure he is that it's something that he does a lot. And so that did strike me as interesting, the fact that he said 95%. I don't know about all. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I know I'm not going to go that far, but what I will say is I think he's trying to cover up for Thug, because these rappers try to stick together. Like, one thing that these people try to do is they do try to come to one another's defense and suggest that any circumstance that they find themselves in that is adverse is is them being under siege. They are being placed under the weight of unfair odds, and they are being victimized. And so we can't let one of our guys go down. We can't let one of our guys be victimized without a fight. So we're going to come out swinging, and I'm going to come to his defense in my own way by showing up on this show and sort of painting the scene that you cannot use something as evidence if the nature of the evidence that you are attempting to use is in fact a fallacy, not true. And then he tries to make equivalencies in other areas of entertainment and art, like movies and actors and stuff like that. And that to me is the biggest issue that I have with this conversation, because I feel like you guys, and by you guys I mean Fat Joe and people in the hip hop music industry, for generations, these individuals have done a very effective job of selling the public on the idea that the music is an extension of these people's reality. Like, that's the way the music has been sold to us.
Exactly.
So the difference between music and movies is the delineation between reality and fiction is clear, and it's sold as such in movies. No one is going to misunderstand Arnold Schwarzenegger for being Dutch, his character in Predator. Like, no one is going to believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to go out here with his M16 looking to kill an alien with green blood. Like, there's no stretch of imagination historically that you can count on when it comes to movies to have people thinking that this could possibly be real life. The closest that you'll get to that is if it's a movie being made about something that actually happened, right? So like biographies or some nonfiction stories, something about something that actually happened, but it's been embellished for entertainment. It's been satirized to a certain degree, but nevertheless, it's about something that actually took place. That's pretty much as close as you're going to get. But when you're watching a fiction movie, when you're reading a fiction book, cinema historically, unless it's a documentary or unless it's nonfiction, has been sold to the public as this is purely for entertainment purposes. There is no aspect of this that is truly stoked in any sort of reality other than the imagination of the writers and the directors and the people who are involved. But rap music in particular for decades has been sold to the public as an extension of the reality of the individuals who are making the music.
Correct.
So the reason why to me that is a false equivalency is because movies have been effectively billed to the public truly is fakery, entertainment. These guys aren't really on a helicopter shooting Gatling guns. We're not shooting aliens. We're not actually out here doing this stuff that we see in these movies. We're not. Like, Thanos isn't really going to show up and snap his fingers and kill half the universe. It's not going to happen. It's not going to newsflash, guys. It's not really going to happen. Not that anyone needs to be told that, because the extension of belief is inherent when you go and do and have a movie going experience. For the majority of us who listen to this music out here, well, I don't know about majority, but for a great deal of the people who listen to this music, that extension of disbelief doesn't exist. We believe that this is an extension of the reality of the people who are making this stuff. And it's not our fault that we believe that. It's been intentionally sold to us that way.
Right.
So the reason why prosecutors and people in the law feel as though they are emboldened to use rap lyrics as evidence, as erroneous as you think the concept of it is, it's because this stuff has been sold to the general population as an extension of reality. Now, on this channel, and even not on this channel, for a good portion of my life, once I became self-aware, I have been screaming to the mountaintops that rap in particular needs to be gleaned as entertainment. When you put your headphones on or when you listen to your favorite rapper, you need to suspend belief. There needs to be a suspension of belief in the exact same way that you suspend belief when you go to watch a fiction movie. When you go to watch that movie with them people trying to kill the dinosaurs or trying to kill the huge shark, or you go and you watch that movie about bank robbers and having shootouts with automatic rifles with cops in the streets, and you have that suspension of belief because you know you're watching a movie, you need to carry that same sensibility with you when you listen to this music. But a lot of us don't do that. We don't have that gear to be able to suspend that belief because the business of the music industry has conditioned a huge portion of our population to believe that this is real. This is real. So Fat Joe can get on CNN all he wants and plead his case that he's lied in 95% of his music. I guarantee you that when Fat Joe was in his heyday and he was doing the actual lying, his intent was for you to believe him.
Absolutely.
That was his intent. So now that he's pushing 50 and he's not really active as a rapper anymore, and he's perhaps older and wiser and more enlightened, sure, he can be a mouthpiece to the idea that he's 95% of the time lied in his music. But when he was Joey Crack, as you say, doing Terror Squad and Lean Back and making all of that stuff in his heyday, his intent was for you to believe that stuff.
Yep.
When these rappers are doing this, whether they're lying or not, and I, like you, believe that the vast majority of the time they are lying, their intent is for you to believe them. So what are we talking about here? So this is chickens coming home to roost. You reap what you sow, so on and so forth, one cliche after the next. Is he lying in his music? Perhaps, but you dug your own grave. And the more that you get complicit with the ecosystem around the business of this rap, and you're peddling this stuff to a population, selling them on the idea, marketing to them upon the basis that this is reality. Therefore, you don't need to suspend belief because, hey, I'm rapping about what I am. This isn't my art. This is who I am. I just happen to be doing it on a record. Well, this is a part of what you get as a result. So if we want some of this stuff to be a little better, if we want to see individuals like Young Thug not get bammed up the way he's gotten bammed up, perhaps we need to do a better job of not being slaves to this industry and allowing them to take over and sell us on this idea that it's in fact an extension of reality. But that won't happen because there's far too much money to be made in the belief that this is reality, both for the music industry and for the artists collectively. So this is a result of that dynamic, and it has been playing out at this point for several decades, definitely since the 80s, and it really went on steroids in the 90s. And these guys were a part of what was the result of those initial stages of that particular form of an operation. So nowadays, I think because of the internet, because of social media, and because of the fact that we have more opportunities to see these people when they are being civilians and they're not putting on their mask when they're making their music. There's more
Mhm.
opportunities for people to understand that. But I do get the sense that there's a very sizable portion of the population that still looks at this music not as art and entertainment, but as an extension of reality for the people who are making it. And that's where it gets a little dicey.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, he would have went on any radio show if he didn't already, and vouched about how real of a N-word that he is,
Right.
and that he actually about this life, and he actually out here leaning back, whatever the hell that means. Now, the last part of his argument where he was like, "Hey, use real evidence." Now that I can dig that. Now, if this guy's out here actually a kingpin, calling shots, sending text messages, getting people assassinated, like, you should be able to find enough conclusive evidence and not find a song. Like, you should be able to do that, especially if you're indicted, especially if you got snitches on record. So I don't understand the importance. I don't see how the lyrics can be the slam dunk. Now, if they want to use that evidence to paint a picture of him, then that's one thing. But him saying that, hey, use real evidence, now that I agree with. Use real evidence in the court of law. If you want to get somebody hemmed up for being some type of kingpin, yeah, find kingpin stuff. You should be able to find that. So that part I do agree with. But when it comes to Fat Joe and him as a caricature, because that's what he basically told us now. Now you talk about minstrel shows. Well, here we go. All right. So if you're lying in 95% of your rhymes throughout your entire career, then you, sir, are a phony. Now, I've heard people also talk on this point too before, like, oh, comparing it to Marlon Brando and all these other people, all these gangsters and stuff in movies. I heard Lil Turk, Lil Turk from the Hot Boys, and he was on some type of morning show with D1 after his whole little spat with Rick Ross and them, and he brought up the same argument of it's like movies. We trying to tell a story like it's a movie, and it's just like, but you yourself will come off back in those days. So your song is like a movie, and then once you leave the filming, which is your recording, once you leave your filming, so you're still gonna act like the bad cop in Training Day if you're Denzel Washington. Is that what you're gonna do? So you're gonna go to the convenience store, or you're gonna go to your next interview when you're doing a whole nother movie and continue the same, oh, Jake, you're gonna keep that up. They don't
Yeah.
keep that up. This whole persona that these dudes keep up suggests that they are living their lyrics.
Hmm.
And anytime there's a beef between them and another rapper, they want to unmute and let us know how gangster, how hood, how dangerous they are, how much they're willing to go to jail to stand on their principles about this stuff. But then you want to turn around once the law gets involved and tell me that you're lying in 90% of your rhymes. Which one is it, champ? And so the thing is that once there are people that are, that can suspend their disbelief and just go, all right, well, that's just music. All right, well, what about the young people? The thing that got my mind warped when I was a young person was I couldn't tell the difference. I didn't know
Right.
what was going on. And so now when these kids listen to NBA Youngboy, they really out here, really trying to bang for real, and tell that kid that NBA Youngboy is lying. But when NBA Youngboy 20 years from now wants to say, I lied in 95% of my rhymes, yeah, tell that to the guy that's doing life in prison.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear this garbage, Joey Crack. All right. I mean, I'm glad he admitted it, but at the same time, I mean, at least over here, you're preaching to the choir, bro. I already knew you was lying. But for you to sit here and, like you said, bro, just cape for your fellow rapper. And that's the part about this is like, okay, why cape for Thug? Like, who cares? But, they're in this fraternity together. And I think he's caping for the fraternity of all the rappers who embellish their rhymes. But like I said, because Jeezy, whether, people, Jeezy was involved with BMF. He wasn't doing the stuff, though. That's why when Big Meech went in, Jeezy didn't. And I think a lot of these rappers, like I said, they get close enough to the lifestyle because there's some weird thing they got going on. They get close enough to that lifestyle where they could get roped up in some goofy stuff later down the line. And I think that that's kind of low key his angle here, but I think more or less the fraternity of taking up for other rappers type of thing, as you mentioned. But yeah, I don't care for this excuse, especially as they double down once the microphone's cut off. Now, if they clearly showed me that they were making that stuff up on wax, then it's like, oh, okay, well, that's just the song. That's just a fairy tale. Clearly outside of these walls, this guy's a normal human being just like me. But once the persona goes, interviews, anything else, he thugging. But when you near your 50s, you telling people you ain't thugging no more. I don't want to hear it, bro. So yeah, this is a message 30 years too late if you've been lying for 30 years, Fat Joe. So on one hand, I want to commend him for being honest, but on the other hand, it's stick it where the sun don't shine, because I don't want to hear this message so late down the line. I mean, I can talk about this for an hour, but I'll cut it off here, man, and just say that hey, man, Young Thug, he did a lot of talking on wax, man. He did a lot of stuff that was eerily similar to the stuff that he got caught up in, which is why I always bring him up and other guys that getting caught up in RICO cases lately that are these rappers that listen to Fat Joe and really tried to take that stuff off screen and put it in real life. I think Young Thug is one of those people that took it off screen and did it in real life. And so for him to try to cape for a different generation, you're missing the boat there. I'm not going to call Young Thug guilty, but he's got a wild circumstance of evidence mounted against him. So truly humble under God. Be blessed, bro.
Method acting is what you were trying to think of. It's called method acting, when actors who are really trying to just stay in character, even when the camera isn't rolling, they'll go, and if you spot them on the street somewhere, or they in a grocery store or a restaurant, it's like, why is this person acting like this? Like they're acting like the character that they playing in the movie. It's weird and goofy though, but some of them do it. But even then, there's still a suspension of belief, because like I said before, one thing that cinema has done that rap music specifically has not, because other forms of music I would also classify as, you pretty much know where that line of demarcation is between what's real and what's fake.
Right.
But the difference between movies, cinema, books, even TV, and rap music is rap music was sold to several generations as an extension of reality. Whereas movies have always been marketed to the population as entertainment.
Right.
And I think that there is an element of hypocrisy, and maybe it's a slight element, maybe it's a major one, depending on your perspective. But for me, there's some hypocrisy present here, because I believe that in Fat Joe's heyday, his intent, like I said, was for you to believe that he was telling the truth.
Yep.
So if when you were doing your thing, your intent was for people to believe that you are telling the truth, and in retrospect, it might be a bit noble for you to talk about how you've been lying this whole time. But hey, man, the stage has already been set. You were doing this thing and then portraying yourself to be this individual, even when you weren't rapping.
Right.
Whether it was interviews, whether it was movies you were featured in, whether it was walking down the street. Nowadays, these guys definitely make sure that they seem gangster whenever they going on their social media rants. Meek Mill. So at the end of the day, they're still perpetuating a lot of the things that can end up coming to cost you in the long run. And when they start to cost you in the long run, you cannot in hindsight then talk about how you've been lying this whole time. It's kind of like, bro, it's a little too late for that. So I hear what you're saying, but for a lot of these guys, their intention is to have you believe them. And that's why I can't give this a pass. Although I will agree with you, I do think it needs to be hard evidence and not musical lyrics. Any reasonable person can agree with that. That's a very reasonable take. But at the end of the day, I can't let you slide on this explanation, because this stuff has been sold to us as reality. and that has a detrimental effect that you have to take accountability for. And that's it, period. End of story.
100. Agreed.
Good luck, Thugger.
Yeah, good luck,
I get
Thugger. Yeah, good luck, cracker your ass, Fat Joe. I would have never said that. I would have came up with something else.
I mean, he did have a huge crack in his ass.
Apparently. Enough to be called crack. That's crazy.
Next up, we're going to talk about comments made by Lil Wayne in reference to Andre 3000. So Weezy was on a podcast with Tyga, and Weezy got into, Andre 3000's GQ interview that was just big across the internet for the week that it was popping. After Andre 3000 put out his Wind Instruments album, his conceptual album, which we talked about that as well. It's actually great. Please go listen to it and do yourself a favor. But I digress. So Wayne was talking about how sad Andre 3000's comments made him. Specifically, he's saddened by the fact that Andre 3000 believes that in his 40s, he feels as though he has nothing to talk about. And Wayne is like saddened by that because he looks up to Andre 3000 and he feels differently. He feels like at this point, he has everything to say. So this will be obviously a continuation of Andre 3000's comments. But first, we'll go ahead and set the stage and listen to what Wayne had to say. So yeah, this is Wayne and how sad he was to hear Andre 3000 say he feels as though he has nothing to say.
I read a depressing quote or two from someone that I respect a lot in music, in hip hop period, and music period. And they would ask, like, why you ain't been doing, music or whatever. And they was like, man, like, what I'm gonna talk about? It was like, like, when I'm gonna talk about, I'm in my 40s. Like, what am I gonna talk about? Like, what you want to know about me and what I do? And you want to know about what I'm doing, about the life I'm living at this age and the things I'm doing. Like, what am I supposed to talk about? I was like, wow, that was so different. Like, I have everything to talk about.
I feel like that's why you got to stay in it, though, too. I feel like you can't be too far removed.
I also thought that may be a downfall by staying in it, because you may, at our age, you may hear what's going on and feel like, I'm so out of that I ain't about to drop nothing. I'm not about to. So that's why I say I don't listen. Just go in my little hole.
It's true to you, though.
Yeah,
and it's just,
I love what I do. Yeah. Put it out and hope for swing for the.
He hopes for the best. So yeah, Weezy sad about the fact that Andre 3000 feels as though he has nothing to say. Shouts out to Kenneth Lott on the chat, says keep speaking the truth. Appreciate that, bro. Certainly appreciate that.
100.
So yeah, interesting. Pretty. Here in our little hole in our community, a lot of people agree with what we had to say about the whole dynamic in particular, but I guess now artists are sharing their thoughts on it. What did you make of what Wayne had to say here?
I mean, I get it. I mean, at this point, especially if you're in our generation, you just basically grew up with Lil Wayne. So you kind of know who he is as a person. You kind of know who he is as an artist if you've been listening. And Lil Wayne has never stopped rapping. He still raps to this day. And I would honestly argue, out of all the Lil Wayne songs that's ever been made, all the verses that's ever been made, you probably, on two hands, and that's being very lenient. On two hands, you could probably count the amount of verses that he gave that actually had some substance that meant something to the caliber of an Andre 3000. So you look up to Andre 3000, you always have. And as an artist, how many times have you hit that bar where he's at? If you can count that on two hands, then you don't understand his struggle. Lil Wayne, to this day, you know, struggling with health or whatever he's got going on, to this day, he's going to come out with a song talking about doing drugs, having salacious sex with random women, you know, and God knows what else. He's still going to do that. How hard is that to do? That's not hard to do. They honestly don't even have to make sense. He'll just give you bar after bar, and people say he's in there cooking. Listen to Wayne, boy. He's saying things that rhyme, but what is that? I think Jay-Z had a bar like that. You can say a whole bunch of stuff that rhyme, but what sense are you making? Lil Wayne doesn't make sense. So that's why he can still keep talking. I'll stay in my own bubble. I'll listen. All right, bro. Good for you. And this is coming from somebody who reluctantly is a fan of Wayne. I am. I'm a fan of him as a person because I saw his whole growth, and I realized that.
I mean, he's our age. He's our age. Like, we literally grew up with him.
Yeah. So I know who he is more or less as a person. So, and he's not a person that would understand Andre's plight. So yeah, it should be depressing to one degree if you're Wayne, because hey, you're in the 40-year-old bracket and you're still spitting, and you look up to Andre because he is an icon in this industry. So I understand all of that, but I think he's missing. Y'all rapping in two different universes, bro. So I heard recently, man, a feature that he had with Benny the Butcher. He snapped for Wayne standards. I was like, oh, listen to Wayne. He taking me back to 2007 with these bars. So but what was he talking about? Bitches, guns, people having them messed up, drugs. So that's very immature. So immature, and with that type of rapping style, yeah, you could talk about eating candy and eating pizza and ice cream all day. But if you're actually trying to come up with something constructive, something that's going to get people to think, something that's going to get people to reflect on reality that's currently going on, nothing too deep, nothing too political, just something that scratches the surface of something where you can scratch and sniff and go, I know exactly what he's talking about. That's deep right there. Wayne don't do that. So he's going to talk about some asshole, like literally an asshole, a shit bar where he's wiping his ass or something like that. Oh, yep, Wayne with another shit bar. Oh, Wayne with more bars about doing bars. I'm sorry, bro. So yeah, that's an endless supply of garbage that you can constantly recycle until you're 60. So you'll never run out, Wayne, if you're rapping like that. But if you're actually rapping with substance, actually trying to give the current people something to actually think about so that light bulb goes off, that actually requires an artistic skill that Wayne has yet to tap in his entire career. So of course he wouldn't understand Andre's plight. But what about you, sir? What are your thoughts on what Lil Wayne's disappointment in Andre 3000 statements?
Yeah, if he would have used another artist, like if you would have said Jay-Z, for example, but Jay-Z would never make comments like Andre 3000. But hypothetically speaking, if Jay-Z had said something like that, I would understand Wayne saying, man, I was made sad by that. But yeah, I kind of was surprised to hear that he was saddened by this because they're on two different planes of existence. Speaking of Wayne and Andre 3000, like when he says, I feel as though I have everything to say, the first thing that came to my mind when he said that was, well, of course you do. Your content is consistent with the content of popularized hip hop music.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course you feel as though you have everything to say. You're talking about the same things that I hear in every other song that gets played whenever I'm listening to Sirius XM, whenever I'm listening to Shade 45 or Hip Hop Nation or any one of these rap stations, and they're playing a hip hop song / rap song. The content of those songs is the exact same thing that I'm going to hear from the content of a Lil Wayne song, even in 2023. So I have the exact same interpretation as you. I really don't have much to add on top of what you said. I agree. Like, I don't think there was ever any point in Wayne's career as a rapper where I felt as though there was an approximation to his music juxtaposed to Andre 3000. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that you can't take inspiration from other people, even if their content isn't the same as yours. But at the end of the day, you are the type of artist that you are.
Yeah.
And I've been listening, and you know, him and 2 Chainz put out that Welcome to Collie Grove, the Collie Grove sequel. And I'm listening to the songs, and you know, it's pretty much standard issue.
Yeah.
It's a SOPs manual. It's a SOPs manual for rap. It's
Yeah.
standard operating procedures. It's
Yeah.
you know one of the songs is called Pretty Pussy Award. You know, you got other songs. Literally, that's the name of the song, Pretty Pussy Award. Pretty Pussy Award, and you know, he's on another song rapping about how he smashes BBW's RAW. I don't know the name of that song off the top of my head, but Wayne is rapping the hook is I smash BBW's RAW. Like, you know, so the content of your music, right? The content of your music, even in your advanced rap age of your late 30s, is very consistent with the content of popularized rap. And he's not putting on. That's who he is as a rapper.
Yeah.
That's the kind of music he wants to make.
Right.
You know, like we talked about Coi Leray and how she complains. Coi Leray often will talk about the music industry. She feels like she's boxed in. And so I get the impression that she is trying to tell us that she's making the kind of music she thinks we want to hear, and that if it was a different type of energy, she'd be a different kind of artist. And I think that that's bullshit. I think she's making the kind of music she wants to make. She wants to make vagina thirst trap music. That's what she wants to make.
Unbelievable.
But you know, she speaks to how she wants to be this different. Like, no, that's what you want to do. And like Wayne is that's what you are, bro. And like, I got respect for his longevity in the game, but at the end of the day, that's the kind of artist you want to be. And that's the kind of music that you want to make. And it is very consistent with popularized rap today. So, I mean, I guess you can be sad if you want, but you know, you are who you are. We are all who we are. And you don't sound any different than Lil Baby and the Baby to me. You just got a different cadence and a different vocal tone, but your songs contain the same exact subject matter. So you can keep doing, like you said, he can keep rapping like this into perpetuity. And because it is truly who he is at heart as an artist, he feels comfortable feeling like he has everything to say, because it is literally every aspect of what's going on in the industry today is that form of the music.
Mhm.
So he can keep rapping like that until he's 60 years old. Well, because that's who he'll be even when he's 60 years old, I gather.
Right.
So, I mean, those types of comments are interesting because it gives us fodder for the channel. But still, it's like, all right, bro, I guess that's a cool thing to say, to big up somebody who you look up to. But content-wise, musically, you are the industry. So I'm not exactly sure why you'd be sad about what he said.
Yeah, and if you want to look back, Wayne was, like, honestly, bro, like the first child star rapper who just grew up a rapper and just rapped. Like, he don't know nothing else but rapping. And he was also in a generation where, you know, this just loose connection of bars just became a thing. And he is literally a product of the rap game. Like, I look at him in a way where I feel sorry for him, because he was like the first rap rock star. And he was doing the drugs for real. He was living the rock star lifestyle for real. I didn't think he was going to make it past 35. This is when I was like 25, 26. I was like, this nigga's not going to make it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
he's doing too much. I was surprised that, you know, he was still whatever. But once his hair started falling out, once he looked like he was struggling and it looked like he was in his 50s and not his 40s, I was like, yeah, man, he was really doing it for real. Like what you see is what you get from Wayne, and his bars is what's really going on in his head. Like he is who he is, as you mentioned. So, and I think he was like the first of that. Other rappers were in the Fat Joe bucket where they were just embellishing. And, Wayne embellishes. That's nothing Wayne says is true outside of his use of drugs.
Right. Yeah.
It was 2006, 7ish, when the Drought 3 came out. I mean, I was huge Wayne fan. And when Drought 3 came out, in that one in particular, he was openly confessing to doing drugs. Now, at that time, I have never heard that before, outside of weed smoking. But he was actually talking about doing pills and, doing this and doing. I'm like, why are you talking about this, dude? But as also in that same time frame, in my opinion, his bars just went not as good. And it was just this weird stuff. And I think once he hit Carter 2 and all this other stuff, like he just went, brazy, so to speak, right? He just he took it, he just went rock star. And he was really living life. He was really doing the drugs. He was really doing it. And he just stayed in that atmosphere and never came back down. I think he's honestly going to be looked at as some type of, hip hop genius, so to speak, for everybody. Yeah, they're going to lump him in that category. But I think the reason why is because he just went so hard on the stuff that you call minstrel show. And I agree, it is minstrel. And Wayne is like top tier minstrel. And the wild part about it is he really doesn't see it. He really lives this. So for him to hear Andre 3000, somebody that he admires, say that he ain't got much to rap about, that would depress a man who can't see nothing else but what the hell he's doing. And Wayne forever has lived in his own bubble. That's why he said he don't listen to people. I agree with that. He really comes off as somebody that only listens to himself. And so, so this whole spill here, man, to me, this just falls right in line of the character that he became. And I think the crazy part about it is he became more of a character of a human than an actual, real person, man. And that's what's sad about all of this. Yeah, man, because he really became the rap game. And and he wasn't fat though. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wayne was being the rap version of like Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison and
all of that,
Janis Joplin and all of that from that era. What started the 27 Club? Wayne was like the first rapper that I can remember who was fitting that build in this particular genre.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the content of this music, this has always been what he was.
Yeah.
So as the corporate aspect of rap has really taken firm grip on the control of the supply and demand of the music and what you hear and who gets propped up as popular and what is the stuff that they talk about and what is the form of their content. It's quite consistent with Wayne's content.
Yeah.
So it's not a stretch for me to believe him when he says he feels as though he has everything to say. His content is the exact type of content that has been propped up by the industry as this is what hip hop is.
Correct.
So of course he's going to think he has everything to say, and that's the reason why that was what I said was behind Andre 3000's comments. I personally believe Andre 3000's comments were rooted in him looking at popularized hip hop and saying that is not the type of content that I make.
Correct.
Therefore, I have no voice in this ecosystem, so I'm going to back off. That's what I believe Andre 3000 was saying without saying it directly.
Correct.
And I think that I really do believe that Wayne is the antithesis of that. Wayne's
Yes.
like, I have everything to say because
Yes.
he is the industry. He
Yes.
is. So I believe him 1000% when he says he has everything to say. But there's a bit of a, I don't know, I guess on his part, there's cognitive dissonance because he can't understand why Three Stacks would say that, which kind of speaks to me thinking that maybe he's not as smart as we think he is. Because if he was, he would completely get why Three Stacks would say that. But at the end of the day, Wayne is who he is. He is the artist that he wants to be, just like Coi Leray. Um, and if he wants to be made less sad by comments such as those of Andre 3000, maybe he should call for there to be a more diversified form of content that gets popularized in his own genre. But that won't happen because there's too much money in the way that it currently is constructed. But that's why he said what he said.
Yep. No, I agree. And well said, he is the industry. So he is a walking embodiment of what it is.
Yes.
And that's the part about it. That's why I feel sorry for him and sad. Cause you watch him and he's got a lot of life to be lived still, but it looks like he's been cutting that short a lot because he really does the industry stuff for real. And that's the part where I feel sorry for him. But be that as it may, man, wishing Wayne the best. And of course, Andre 3000, keep rocking the boat, man, because you've even rocked Lil Wayne's heart, by what you did. You literally rocked the industry itself and got the industry depressed. Great job, Andre.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wayne's apex to me was 2006, in my opinion. The Carter 2 was his apex, and you mentioned how his bars got weak, just kind of weird, liquidy, like just he started doing that boom boom bam type flow and just rhyming stuff together and stringing along. He was doing what Eminem does. Like Wayne started doing what Eminem does, and I thought that it was that's the point where I felt like he started falling off, and that was in around 2006 2007.
Agreed.
But yeah, good luck to him. Interesting comments, but he is the industry, so he should feel he has everything to say.
Mm-hmm. Hey, hit that like and subscribe too while y'all at it. You know what I'm saying?
I thought Wayne, man.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the talk of the sports world right now. Florida State University has been left out of the college football playoff, despite the fact that they went undefeated. Get that out of here, man. Despite the fact that they went undefeated in the ACC, there is outrage by people who are just so upset because Florida State was left out of the playoff. If you follow sports, there's no context really that we need to provide. You already know what's going on, but I'll read a little bit from this article from Yahoo. It says Florida State was wronged by CFP, but it's not just the committee's fault. Florida State got screwed. That doesn't mean the college football playoff committee got it wrong because someone was going to get screwed on Sunday afternoon when the field was revealed. In this case, it happened to be Florida State. Instead, it'll be number 1 Michigan versus number 4 Alabama in the Rose Bowl, followed by number 2 Washington versus number 3 Texas in the Sugar Bowl on January 1st. It's going to be a brilliant playoff. The Seminoles were the 5th wheel, the 5th choice left out. The reason they got screwed goes far beyond and far before 13 people gathered in a Grapevine, Texas hotel and decided that despite their 13-0 record, their ACC championship, their 2 non-conference victories over SEC opponents, they still weren't worthy of a college football playoff berth. It's more than the committee deciding they should be the first unbeaten Power 5 champion to get left out in the 10-year history of the event. I didn't know the playoff has been around that long. Time flies.
Yeah, I know.
I did not know that the BCS has been gone for 10 years. But yeah, bro. We had to get our two. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Everybody in the sports world is talking about this.
Right.
Do you feel that FSU being left out was an injustice?
Yeah, I do. And this is coming from a hater. I am not I am not an FSU fan. Now I do respect Florida State. They are the rivals to my Hurricanes. I am a Hurricane fan, and y'all whooped all ass last year, disrespectfully. We were in attendance. Check that
Yeah.
video out where we were at the tailgate, because that shit was live as hell. But I'm a Canes fan through and through. I got jerseys in the crib. I do this. So yeah, I don't like Florida State, but I do respect them because I feel like they do football the right way. Unlike the Florida Gators. All right. Which I hate and despise. Now, so with that, all that being said, I still feel like Florida State got hosed. Now you and I were texting, bro, when Jordan Travis went down. I didn't like that for y'all in a pointless game, no less. I didn't like that. I felt as though Florida State had an outside chance to win everything, even with Jordan Travis. I still felt like it was going to be a uphill battle to get that done. But with no Jordan Travis, those two performances that they put together, I mean, it was sketchy. You know, objectively looking at it, I still didn't want y'all to lose because you know, I saw a lot of effort go into that. With all of this stuff going on, I really feel bad for the players, not so much the fans. Sorry, JV wins. I feel bad for the players because you already know that locker room was selling out for that. They were working hard. They were doing their thing. I mean, practice is no joke. If you've ever been to football practice, it's not a joke. These guys are out there for real, hustling, trying to get it in. And so I really feel bad for the players, than the fans. All right. But I feel as though they got hosed, man. Listen, the system is what it should be, at least is for what I thought, is, if you go 13-0, you're in. You go 12-0, you're in. Honestly, what is it? Only two undefeated teams, three undefeated teams, including FSU, in the country, and 100 and some teams. And
I think the other two are not Power 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Florida State does not get in. I feel as though that's hogwash, is garbage, and I think it all just boils down to the cash, man. And the NCAA, they saw the writing on the wall when it comes to money. And I'll say this, and then I'll let you go because I would love to hear what you guys. But I was just telling a friend that nowadays the rich are still wanting to get richer. The economy is crazy right now, and the fat cats still want to get fat, and they don't care what it looks like to consumers at this point. You go to the grocery store and you try to buy something, they say, I don't care, make the package smaller. They're still going to buy it, and people still buy it. Oh, hey, I don't care, make the quality less. Say it's a new flavor. They're still going to buy it, and upcharge them on it too while you're at it. They do all of that. People still buy it. And now that same F the consumer mentality has come over to college football. Before, they would have just did whatever as they normally did. Let TCU in, let Cincinnati in, let these people in. Yeah, it's the playoffs. This is what we did it for, right? Let these undefeated teams get in here and swing it out, right? But this year in particular, they've adopted the new commercialized, new way that these corporations are working. And they say, to hell with whatever makes the right sense when it comes to fair. Sorry. We're taking the bottom line, period. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. The Washington Oregon game, it was live, bro.
Yeah.
The Oregon, not Oregon, the Alabama Georgia game, live. Elite stuff going on all over the field. But then you go to Michigan, Iowa, whoa, snooze fest. Then you flip over to Louisville, FSU, whoa, another snooze fest. They know what's going on here. They had an ace in the hole with their Jordan Travis thing. They played that card. And they want money, bro. And they know that those ratings gonna go dumb for those 4 games or those 2 games, which most likely they are. And but I still think that just sticking with the letter of the law, Florida State should have been in regardless, and they should have tried to figure out something crazy. I mean, I've got more to say about this with SEC types of garbage, but what about you, man? What are your thoughts as the FSU alum and fan experiencing this after a 13-0 season and an ACC title?
This might surprise. So yeah, for anyone who might be watching this for the first time, who has not seen any of the videos that we've done before, I am an alum of Florida State, went to Florida State for a total of 7 years, undergrad and grad degree. I bleed the stuff. Proud of where I went to school, and I do root for the team through and through. Having said that, what I think about this situation might surprise you. Life happened. That's how I see it. Like, I'm not outraged because I think that the reason why people are upset is because they have a perception of fairness that was violated. They have an expectation of fairness that was violated. And what do I always say about fairness?
I knew you were going to. Go ahead, man.
Fairness does not exist. To quote Stephen A. Smith, fairness is a place where they judge pigs. It does not exist. Fairness is not real. You know what? I believe this so strongly that I have worked to eliminate even using the word fairness. I have replaced the word fair with reasonable. Every time I almost use the word fair, I catch myself and I stop. And I use the word reasonable in the place of fairness, because that is my way of reminding myself that I believe fairness is a construct that has always been made up. It does not exist. In no area of life is fairness a real thing. You know what I think about fairness? I think about fairness the same way I think about the American dream. The American dream is fallacious. It's not real. It doesn't exist. What is the American dream? You go to school, work hard, get good grades. You get a diploma. Either you go to college, work hard, get good grades, or you get your diploma, get a secondary degree or some sort of certification or apprenticeship. Work hard through that, earn the credential, then you get a job. And when you get a job, in either scenario, whether you go the secondary route or whether you go the college route, you get out, you get a job. And when you get that job, you're going to be making enough money to be able to live a life. You're going to make enough money so that you can buy your house, start raising your family. Maybe you'll have 1 or 2 cars. Maybe you'll have a dog. And you just live out that life being a hard worker and working that job. That's the American dream. Is that a real thing?
No.
It doesn't exist. What the American dream actually is you work your ass off to be funneled into the modern day slavery system, to be paid a salary that in most cases is not going to afford you with the ability to live in any circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that the American dream is actually a thing that exists is if you just so happen to live somewhere where the cost of living is below average and you can afford to take your $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 salary and actually buy yourself a house because it's cheap to live in this place. If you live in any metro area, if you live in any part of this country where you do need to be able to afford the standard of living that's well above average, there's no way you're going to graduate earning these salaries and buy what you need to buy and get your house. No, it's not enough. You need 2 incomes. You need a supplement. You need passive income. And if you're like most people, you're just going to get into a relationship or cohabitate with somebody so that you can income combine, because that's the only way that you can really make it out here in this American dream of an economy. So the American dream is not real. It hasn't been real since the generation before ours. It's a fallacy. It doesn't exist. So you're setting yourself up for failure, thinking that you're going to follow that model and get out and be happy. You're setting yourself up for failure. Your expectations are going to be violated, and then you're going to become bitter and angry and upset because you feel as though the world owes something to you when really you owe nothing but what you owe to yourself. That's how I look at college football. It's big business, and it's also inherently unfair. Florida State was excommunicated from the college football playoff because the reality is fairness isn't a part of the equation, and it never was. It doesn't exist. These people are human. They sit down, they look at the resume, and they say which one has the prettiest, shiniest resume. Florida State, your starting quarterback got hurt. You're a different team without him. Your resume is just not as good looking as Alabama's. You're done. So am I disappointed? Yes, but it's a far cry from outrage because I anticipate unfairness rearing its ugly head at every turn because there is no such thing as fair. It does not exist. Do you know how many times I believe I have applied for a job and I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am more qualified than whoever they picked over me, but whoever is evaluating the candidates pick the person whose resume is more shiny, who looks better on paper? That happens all. Is that fair? Of course not. Fairness doesn't exist. I'm not owed that opportunity. I don't. When you get into words like deserve and owe, that's a dangerous slippery slope. There is no deserve. There is no fairness. Fairness doesn't exist. So life hit Florida State. That's what happened. The inherently unfair nature of human existence is what hit FSU. Look, guys, on paper, and I went to Florida State. There's no way that we were going to stay in and Alabama was going to be left out if Alabama beat a team that won 2 national championships in a row and won 29 games straight. It is what it is. They left Georgia out. Georgia has a right to feel they got screwed. They won 2 natties in a row and won 29 games straight. We're playing them in the Orange Bowl now. so like this situation is like life. Fairness doesn't exist. I have been passed over for high-paying jobs so many times throughout my life, I've lost count. And I would gather anecdotally that I am more qualified than at least 65% of the people who were picked over me. But whatever lazy person was sitting down evaluating candidates read the other person's resume and said, "Oh man, they have experience with this and that software." Hired. But you get them in there and they lack all of the intangibles and it doesn't work out. And you would have been better served by bringing me on because the gap between my shiny credentials and their shiny credentials is nowhere near the size of the gap between everything else that I'm better at than them and what they have. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's how this stuff works out. It ain't fair. Fairness does not exist. People really need to wrap their brains around the idea that there is no such thing as fair. There ain't no fair, especially when money and business gets involved. College football is a business. It always was. It's just the charade has been uncovered now that we have been more comfortable or become more comfortable with the idea that we're going to let everybody in on the money via the gambling and playing the players through, the NIL stuff. But this stuff has always been money and business. So, like, the sanctity of college football is a charade. It never existed. And for people to continue to get outraged whenever stuff like this happens, to me, it kind of shows me the lack of awareness that people generally have when it comes to life. I'm not happy about it because I want to see my team go far. But what I also don't want to see is Florida State get dusted 65-0 in the semifinal or the final because our starting quarterback wasn't in the game. I don't want to see Florida State be a victim the way TCU was last year. That was an embarrassment. I don't want to see that personally. So it's a catch-22. Do I want them to let my team advance even though we're a double-digit favorite? Or would I rather we just get hit with life because the shit ain't fair and have us play in a random bowl game and we come back next year and hopefully the quarterback don't break his leg? It sucks. I wish I had something better to say about this thing, but it is what it is. This stuff is not fair, and I think people's outrage over this is directly tethered to this belief, this unicorns and rainbows belief that people still have, that they should be the beneficiaries of fairness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you went that way, man. I mean, I do know that you're the fair police. I do know that. I do know that. But me, man, as a Canes fan, now we got hosed in 2000. I think we got hosed in 2000. We lost our first game of the year to Washington, ran the table, should have been in the national championship. They didn't put us in. That was BCS garbage. All right. The next year we won a national championship, clean. The very next year, by the way, we're winning every game since that lost to Washington in 2000. Then the following season, we run in the table again. Then we get to the national championship, and they call that fake ass pass interference. All right, in the end zone. All right, against us. All right, and then we were out. After that, sanctions came and hit us across the head. We ain't been relevant in 20 years. All right. So the reason why I brought that up is that still stings, bro. That 2000 and 2002 still stings me as a fan, because I feel like we got hosed out of championships. This year, who knows what would have happened? Me personally, like I said, I already felt like I had an outside shot with Jordan Travis. All right, now that he's gone, I really don't see it happening. They have to be the best defensive performances ever. All right, in order to run that table. All right. But this is what, now I know it happened to just fall that way, but also the committee said, hey, look, y'all crying all this stuff about being in the playoffs. Okay, fine. Go play Georgia. Go beat Georgia then. Everybody knows that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Go 14-0 then. All right. Then tell us that we were wrong. We're not wrong. All right. Georgia lost to one of the teams in the playoffs right now. All right. So go beat Georgia. All right. So that ain't gonna happen. All right. So now if that happens, I'm here for the drama. So high key, I will be cheering for y'all because I want this mess. Yeah. And I want the committee, I want these people, these fat cats up top to just feel the burn from all of these fans. To go, hey man, y'all really screwed FSU that year. So I'm really hoping I'm really gonna be cheering for y'all. But that might be over in the first 5 minutes of the game. That might be over. I ain't trying to talk shit. But I mean, that's a juggernaut y'all going against. But with all that being said, man, that showed me a couple things that all right, FSU is not in the good old boys club. Y'all just not.
No.
Because only the good old boys made it in. All right. That's the reason why they kept us out in 2000, because we're not part of the good old boys club. That's why they call that PI on us against Ohio State, if I'm concerned, in 2002. All right. And that's why they put the sanctions on us, because we're not in the good old boys club. We're not in the blue bloods. We're not up there. Florida State, I think they have a higher ranking when it comes to these committees and stuff over Miami. But still, there's still a tier that Florida State is just not there in the good old boy market. And y'all got a lot of fans. Y'all gonna have a lot of people watching that game, but y'all might not have enough casuals to watch it.
Yeah.
And casuals will watch Alabama. They're gonna watch, Penix. They're gonna watch all of that. So yeah, man, I just think that this, and you're right, man, the fair stuff don't have nothing to do with bottom line and money. When bottom line and money is on the table, fairness is out the window.
It always is, but it's exacerbated when you put the money into it. But even without the money, that shit is out the window.
Yeah. And so with all of this going on, I mean, I understood it. I just only know how I would have felt as a fan that go, hey, bro, but we did it though. We won all our games though. Yeah. And then there's always the who knows factor. Because I already know in 2000, when they didn't get us into BCS, we destroyed whatever team we played, and whatever team that got in got destroyed. So it's just like, man, see, this is the crap I'm talking about. They just wanted us out. So I don't think it's some grandiose collusion. I just really think that, you're not in the good old boy club. You don't make enough money. You ain't enough attention. Jordan Travis, all of these other reasons. Sorry. And so I think they took enough L's. And Stephen A. Smith made a good point about this. He said, hey, blame TCU for getting eradicated.
Yes. Yep.
Blame them. Blame Cincinnati for not making these things competitive. But if you watch that Washington Oregon game, elite plays all across the field. I mean, I'm like, man, these guys are in college. This is great, you know. But then you see whatever quarterback FSU rolled out there, the third string guy. I mean, he is just struggling with 60 something yards passing for the whole game. I mean, 16 to whatever against Louisville. Like, what did you just say? And so yeah, y'all just in their minds that y'all was just going to be TCU 2.0. And
I mean, I really do think that they looked at it that way. I really do. I was thinking that even before Stephen A. Smith said it. It's just like I feel as though they have, they kind of have Stockholm syndrome
yeah,
based off of what happened with them putting TCU in the game last year because that was a debacle, and they just don't want to repeat that because then they'll make a mockery of the entire sport.
right.
I mean, in the case, I hear what you're saying. In the case of what you brought up with you have a right to feel like you got screwed because you were in the game and then there was incompetence that sort of set in and caused you to lose. This to me wasn't necessarily incompetence, but more so a very natural way that most humans instinctively take information like this and make a judgment call. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not shocked because if I was sitting in there, I might look at this and be like, do they still get in? The starting quarterback got hurt and they just beat a team that won 29 games in a row and won 2 straight championship games. What do I think the possible outcome can be? I can understand how that was the thought process, right or wrong, fair or unfair, even though fairness ain't really a real thing. In your case, I could see you feeling like you got holes because that was incompetence or a ridiculous oversight. That's like say I got, like, let's use my hiring analogy. Let's say that I got hired for a job that I was really trying to get, and I'm right there and I'm about to sign a contract and I'm about to be the next highly paid employee on the staff, and at the 23rd hour the recruiter is like, do you know how to build websites? I say, yeah. And then they say, okay, well, do you know how to use Drupal? No, I don't know. I don't know how to use Drupal. I know how to use WordPress.
Right.
And they say, oh, well, this other person knows how to use Drupal. I don't care. I know how to build websites. I know how to code. I just don't use the same framework. What's the difference? We'd rather the person who knew how to use Drupal. Sorry, sir, but you're out of here. And so I made it that far, and then you hose me on a ridiculous technicality like that. I would feel like I got screwed for real. Because if that were the case, why not bring that up in the earlier parts of this negotiation?
Right.
Before you get me down here to sign on a dotted line when I feel as though I have secured this thing, and then you want to disqualify me. In a roundabout way, I kind of feel like that's what happened to y'all. So I kind of feel like you're justified in feeling like you got holes. This to me was just business as usual.
Yeah.
This was literally college football standard operating procedures. Quarterback broke his leg. Hey, man, it ain't fair, but we can't let you in there because we don't need a non-competitive game. And you're not the same team without him because let's face it, if he was in the game, we would have won like 40-10 probably. And it was 6-6 in the fourth quarter. It's hard to overcome that. I even feel like if we had been up at least a touchdown and a half in the fourth quarter, they may have had more sympathy. But it was a tied game, low scoring, no touchdowns scored in the fourth quarter. It's hard to overcome that. So I don't like it, but I also accept that that's the way things typically go.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'll be rooting for y'all against Georgia, as crazy as that sounds, man. I just want the mess. I want the chaos. And I want the chaos.
Yeah, if we win that game, that will be very interesting,
Yes.
especially if it's won convincingly. But then again, we don't really know who's going to play yet because a lot of times when this kind of thing happens, key guys sit out because they say, well, just skip the bowl game. So we'll see what ends up happening, man. But hey, look, man, we got a top 10 recruiting class again, I think, next year. Travis is gone, but I do like the way Rodemaker looked. I think with an entire offseason, with him getting the majority of the reps with the first teamers, I like us going into next year again, especially if those receivers come back. So we'll see what happens, man. But this is the way the cookie crumbles, man. Invest your energy in things where the outcome is more determined by actual merit. And you can say what you want about the NFL because there's some shisty stuff going on with the NFL, but at least there's a fully fledged playoff in the NFL. So you can rest more assured that your fate is more directly tethered to merit and not circumstance, which is all college football is circumstance.
It's crazy. And the last thing, man, they thought they did merit, and especially if I'm Mike Norvell, it's like, bro, come on, bro, we're 13.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on, dog. We
But
beat.
see, the difference is in the NFL, if you're first, like in the NFL, if the starter goes out, they're not gonna remove you from the play. They're not gonna remove you from your
Yeah, that's
seating.
genuine merit. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're confused. We have a false perception of merit when it comes to college football, and that's my whole point. Like it's not. It's never been fair.
It
Like
has
if Tua goes down with an ACL or an Achilles, but we still win the AFC East, we're still in the playoffs.
That's true.
As a matter of fact, it happened last year.
Yeah, right.
What's that kid's name? Skyler.
Yeah.
He had to start Skyler because Tua got concussed. we had to go. We knew what was going to happen more likely than not. But hey, we in there because
Right.
in the NFL, you made it. You got in there. They're not going to take you out of there. But there's no such thing as fair when it comes to life in general. But really, college football is all it's just pie in the sky judgments and weird randomness. It's never been fair. It's never been fair.
Yeah. Hey. Well. Hey. Take a snippet of this. It's the only time you're gonna hear me say this. Go Noles, man. Go Noles.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
go
love
Noles.
it, man. Shouts out to Jordan Travis too, man. You played your ass off. You gave a lot to FSU, man. I wish you all the luck in your future endeavors,
Yeah,
sir.
for sure, for sure, for sure.
All right, now we have an interesting topic involving Lenny Kravitz. Apparently, Lenny Kravitz is not feeling the love when it comes to being acknowledged by Black media and Black awards. What's the word I'm looking for? Black
Outlet.
awards. Yeah, I almost used the word syndicate.
You can call it that.
I almost used the word syndicate, but trying to be reasonable. But Lenny Kravitz does not like how he feels as though he's not celebrated enough when it comes to Black award shows. So here's a little article for context. This comes from People. It says Lenny Kravitz clarifies comments on feeling like he is not celebrated, referring to Black award shows. After Lenny Kravitz shared in a recent Esquire interview that he feels as though his career has not been celebrated by Black media organizations, he's expounding upon his thoughts. The rock star 59 posted to his Instagram story on Monday to clarify what he meant when he said that he feels like his music and success, quote, is not celebrated by the folks who run Black media outlets, and pointed out that he's never been invited to the BET Awards or Source Awards. Source Awards, do they still do that?
I don't think so.
In his statement, the Grammy winner explained that he was specifically referring to Black award shows and expressed his hopes that rock music will continue to be recognized in those spaces. It is important to me to set the record straight on recent media reports based on an interview I did. Kravitz began the statement on his story. My Black musical heritage means a lot to me, and I owe my success to my supporters who have taken this journey with me over the span of my career. The comment I made was not about Black media or the Black community. I was specifically referring to Black award shows in particular. My comment was meant to express a concern about ensuring that Black artists are being recognized for their work in what is now being called non-traditional Black music, which it is not. Rock and roll is the music we were instrumental in creating and is a part of our history. We must retain our heritage and celebrate that together. BET and countless others have paved the way for this type of recognition. I hope that by sharing my concern, a spotlight will be shown on this issue. Love and peace. So he feels like Black award shows specifically do not do enough to spotlight artists such as him who have, paved the way for themselves when it comes to rock and roll music with Black artists. Do you agree with what he has to say here?
I mean, absolutely. And I'm surprised it took him this long to actually say something, but I'm glad that he did say something. And I think that for anybody that's listening, hopefully a light bulb went off in their brain and go, yeah, why aren't we including, people like Lenny Kravitz in, you know, our day-to-day consumption of music? If we have a black radio station, for instance, why aren't we playing music from all black artists? Rock included, jazz included. Like, why are we not doing this? Um, our culture has been pigeonholed into rap and R&B. And R&B is fading away, and that's slowly just turning into rap.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
all been. I not to cut you off, but
mhm,
I think it's all just been lumped into hip hop.
yeah, it's just an
All just
amalgamation.
lumped in. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just this ooze. That it's not like, what is this? And because I'm hearing these girls that have a voice, but she's rapping while she's singing. And it's like, hey man, where's the R&B? Where's the harmonizing? We're gone. They're basically giving us bars. I don't want to hear that. And so yeah, man, it's just been it's just melded all into this amalgamation of audio that people are calling, it's rap. It's just rap. And so, and when I saw this initially, when I first saw his first thing, before the clarification, I was like, you know what? I also said source, but he is 59
yeah,
years old. So,
right. Yeah,
but so he's also referring to when he was in his heyday.
yeah,
Hey, man, I was out there crushing it. You know what I'm saying? Doing tours, selling albums. I wasn't invited to anything. And why not include us in our stuff? So yeah, man, I agree with this 1000%, man. Once people start to really look at the artistic history, that black people has had, you know, historically, throughout the world in different regions in different time periods, you'll see our influence in classical music. You'll see our influence on rock. You'll see our influence on everything. And so when you're talking about, a people that have the origins and a lot of these things, if not all right, then it shouldn't be a surprise if you see an artist who's actually making quality rock music. And so for decades, Lenny Kravitz has been one of the only, honestly, out there. I guess the award people would argue, hey, we're going to give it to you every year. But I think if it was a thing where we embrace Lenny Kravitz a lot more back in those times, we would have seen a lot more people step into that box. But we've only been given Suge Knight, East Coast, West Coast beef, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, and not enough peace, life, and love, man. So I agree with Lenny Kravitz. I don't even, and that's just crazy, but I could do my own research, but I don't really even know how many people are, how many black people are in the rock game right now, or any other genres of music. I mean, so it's so unique that when Andre 3000 decided to step out and make acoustic music, it just caught everybody off guard. But once you know the history of our music, you'll see that we're just doing what we always did, and that's just make masterpieces. So I'm here for him. I agree with him. I feel as though black media outlets, if they do have the people in mind, maybe they should branch out and incorporate other genres like jazz, like rock, like classical music, like wind instruments, to get our people involved in a lot more than shoot 'em up, bang, bang, or he cheated on me, or she cheated on me. So what are your thoughts on Lenny Kravitz feeling like he was excluded from black media and black media awards?
yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you too. I don't have much more to add to that. Um, if we really did celebrate black artists in all forms of music, then we would be talking more about Darius Rucker, right? That's somebody else who I thought of. That's somebody else who I thought of off the top of my head.
I don't even
That's
know who that
Hootie and the
is.
Blowfish, right?
Oh,
He's the
okay.
drummer for Hootie and the Blowfish. But he's wait, don't let me make sure that I'm right about that
Yeah,
before,
don't quote
because
him
you
on
know
that.
how the internet is. Somebody gonna come out of the woodwork and no, you got that wrong, bro. They not gonna focus on the point that I'm making. They'll just focus on how I got Darius Rucker wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how the internet works. But yeah, Darius Rucker is Hootie and the Blowfish. So I was right
Dolphins
about
fan.
that. Yeah, I was right about that. That's how people are, bro. I'll get something like that wrong, and the whole comments will be about how I got that wrong instead of the point that I'm making. That's how cancel culture works. That's how ridiculous it is.
Mhm.
But no, I agree. I agree with that. We would spotlight Darius Rucker more. We would include categories for country music for black artists at the BET
Yeah, man.
Awards
Yeah.
if we really cared about it, but we don't. We would do rock and roll, and people like Lenny Kravitz would be spotlighted. But we don't care about that. We just care about rap and hip hop. But that is what happens when you make rap and hip hop synonymous with black culture, which is what has effectively been done.
You're right.
That has been effectively done. Congratulations, music industry. You pulled it off. You pulled it off. It was a slow burn. It took, I would say, about 25 years, but it was a successful operation because the ideology that rap and hip hop is synonymous with black culture is truly, it's taken hold. It's taken hold. So whenever what our main export artistically is rap and hip hop music. Darius Rucker, when like I'm pretty sure Hootie and the Blowfish does shows overseas, I would imagine,
Mhm.
but I don't know how big those venues are. I don't know how big those crowds are. But Drake and Travis Scott, they're going over to Europe and they're selling out venues. And when you watch videos and you hear foreign people talk about what is it that black people are known for, they're going to mention rappers, they're going to mention rap music, and they're going to mention hip hop people because that's our primary export artistically. Even though we're all over the place in literature, we're all over the place in movies, we're all over the place in other areas of entertainment. Um, if it's not professional sports, and that's really basketball and football, it's going to be a hip hop star or a rapper.
Yep.
That's our main export. So capitalism in America has effectively superimposed the idea upon the collective consciousness of our population that black culture is hip hop. And so we therefore believe it. We've internalized it and now we believe it. So whenever we award excellence in our exports, we're only going to award those various categories. And we're not going to look at a Lenny Kravitz or a Darius Rucker, unfortunately, even though they need to be spotlighted because they are contributing to the arts. In my opinion, they are doing a greater service to black art than rappers and hip hop people because they are showing the world that black people aren't just shooting basketballs and running with footballs and rapping on beats.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're also playing guitars. We're also playing all of these instruments. We're also playing the drums. We're also playing the bass. But if you leave it up to black art in America, the only thing that the world will know us for is rapping and being hip hop stars. So
Yeah.
this is a manifestation of that very successful strategic implementation. It started, I would say, probably in the late 80s, right? And it really took hold in the 90s. 2000s they ran with it, but now it's firmly entrenched in everything. These foreign countries have no interest in bringing in any form of black export when it comes to entertainment if it isn't a rap star or a hip hop star. Why? Because they also bought into the hype that the music industry sold through capitalism, which is that's their culture, being a hip hop star or being a rap star. So Lenny Kravitz is absolutely 1000% right. And what's even more sad is Lenny Kravitz doesn't even get recognized when he is a part of rap and hip hop. Like Lenny Kravitz has been featured on songs with rappers and other hip hop artists, and even that don't get the highlights. You know what I'm saying? One of the best songs on the Blueprint 2, The Gift and the Curse from Jay-Z, was the song with Lenny Kravitz that was produced by Heavy D. Like, that was one of the best songs on that album by somebody who's regarded by a lot of people as one of, if not the greatest rapper of all time. And it kind of gets shrouded in the recesses of history. But what we will award, who we will give trophies to is thought rap, and female rappers selling box and rapping about how they sell box, prostitution rap, and on the flip side, these dudes who rap about trapping, even though if you listen to Fat Joe, 95% of that is a lie.
Yeah, what are we gonna start doing about that?
So Lenny Kravitz is 100% correct, but this is what you get. You reap what you sow in this regard. Music isn't synonymous with black art. Rap and hip hop is what's synonymous with black art.
Agreed.
Music is not synonymous with black culture. Rap and hip hop is what is synonymous with black culture. So
Agreed.
why would Lenny Kravitz be recognized? He's viewed as outside of black culture.
He is.
So that's the result.
Yep. No, 1,000, bro. Like, well said. And for whatever reason, bro, and it's not even just award show stuff, as you mentioned, bro. He's not even considered black culture.
Yeah.
Like at all. And so yeah, I agree, man. The product, as you mentioned, as hip hop, as just getting black people and everybody to go, hey man, hip hop is Negro. It's just Negro stuff. So yeah, I agree. And for it to work so well, even on me, because I even remember, man, whenever Lenny Kravitz names come up, or Hootie and the Blowfish, man, it was always how, oh, bro, y'all on the other side of the fence, like y'all doing that, trying to cross over stuff into that white people stuff, and it's just like, nah, man. But again, it's successful to do that when you don't know your own history, and when you don't know the genres of music that you created, and once people get older, they start finding things out. But when you're a youth, man, and you just hearing stuff on the radio, you make those associations and you run with them. It's not until you get older where you actually go, oh wow, and you start to see the influences in different genres. And then you also don't have this mindset of, I don't have to be in this box. Who told me to be in this box of rap and hip hop? And I broke out of that box like mid-20s, bro, mid to late 20s. It took me a while to actually openly embrace different types of music. And so yeah, man, it has a stronghold. But that was well said when you said that it was pretty much a systemic thing done by the industry to just get people, hey man, this is who y'all are.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and anything outside of that, it's white, it's this, you're selling out.
It's an other. Yeah.
Yes, an other. And Lenny Kravitz always fit in that other bucket. But I'm glad that he's actually speaking up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Hey, I had him in the other bucket too, dog. And for him, and for him to actually say this, I was like, oh, hey, he feels excluded. I didn't know that. I thought he wanted to be out there. But then there goes my naivety. There goes my ignorance.
Right.
And but I'm glad he said something. Hopefully more people speak up on this. We need more of it.
Yeah, I agree. Guns N' Roses, drew a blank on that. Guns N' Roses, that was the name of the Jay-Z song on the Blueprint 2 with Lenny Kravitz. Produced by Heavy D. It's one of my favorite songs on that album. And it just kind of gets shrouded in the recesses of history, unfortunately. I used to live in Tallahassee, and this is the last thing I'll say on this one. In Tallahassee, they have this annual spring festival every year called Springtime Tallahassee. It's like one of the biggest community events of the year in Tallahassee. It's like this huge, it marks the start of spring in Tallahassee. They have a huge parade. There's a bunch of events going on around the city. They have this huge outdoor festival. It's kind of like a carnival, food, music, games, all of that kind of stuff. And one of the bigger aspects of Springtime Tallahassee is a concert that's free to the public that they have on Friday night of that weekend. And I can't remember whether it was 2020. I think it was 2022. I don't think it was this year. I think it was 2022. The headline artist was, because they always feature a country star. It's usually a country music star at this thing. And last year, the headline artist was Jimmy Allen, who's a Black country music artist. And I was intimately involved with this because through my company I handle the media sponsorships. So we partnered with this event. So I kind of they gave me tickets to it. So I kind of knew what was going on. They gave us a VIP table. So I wanted to go just to see like how many non-white people would be at this thing, or at least specifically how many Black people are going to be at this thing. And even by Tallahassee standards, it was very, very few. It was very, very few. So it's like part of it is ignorance because we don't even know, because we've been mentally, socially conditioned, brainwashed, mind controlled, as you like to say, into believing that Black culture is rap/hip hop. But then a lot of it also is, once you become aware that that's not necessarily the case, do you support any of this, or do you still look at it and view it as other or alternative? Because it ain't other and alternative. Like, we started a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
We were a part of starting a lot of this stuff.
Right.
These industries have just tricked you into believing that we're not involved. And if you see a representation of it that looks like you, then it must somehow be an other. That's not like us. And I was disappointed to see that there weren't too many of us who were there at that show, but I also came to expect it. But that's another example. He's a popular country music star. He's Black, and I don't see him getting a lot of love when it comes to Black media outlets when it comes to talking about music. They don't mention him on none of these shows. He ain't at the BET Awards, the BET Hip Hop Awards, some of the rest of the Soul Train Awards. They don't have that there. It's just at the Grammys, Billboard, and some of these other more mainstream programs. And it's disappointing. And then also, and we can go down a rabbit hole on this topic, but I don't want to have it go too long. But they'll see that the guy his girlfriend is not Black. And now you opening up a whole can of worms, because you know how we get with that kind of stuff. Because so now he's definitely an other because he's not married to a Black woman. And you got all of those weirdo kind of elements that are going on that contribute to this madness. But at the end of the day, Lenny Kravitz is correct. We do need to spotlight more exports that Black people are contributing to artistically, and we are far away from doing an adequate enough job of doing that.
1,000, bro. 1,000. Hey, man, shout out to Lenny Kravitz, man, for just being Lenny Kravitz, man. Because I mean, just look at him. I mean, you can't tell me this ain't a rock star. So shout out to Lenny Kravitz, man. I love it.
Yeah. And shouts out to his daughter, because she is fine. At least she is to me.
Oh,
Zoe
shit,
Kravitz.
I think I saw her some years ago. I'm gonna have to do a reboot and see what's going on.
Yeah, go ahead and look her up. Zoe Kravitz, the sexiest Catwoman in the history of Catwomen.
Excuse me while you transition to the next topic.
All right, so now we're going to talk about big, bad, tough guy LeBron. LeBron had some issues with words by Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka was trash talking on the sidelines. Ime Udoka is the head coach of the Houston Rockets. The Rockets were playing the Lakers. Ime Udoka was trash talking the Lakers, talking about how they playing like some bees, some female dogs, some bitchs. LeBron took exception, and Ime Udoka ended up getting a second technical and getting kicked out of the game. But it was an interesting exchange because LeBron, he had to step in and make it known that he doesn't like Ime Udoka using that word so freely. So here is a snippet from that exchange, and then we'll just briefly talk about how we feel about this one. Yo, Ime Udoka is Ime Udoka is like a borderline loose cannon.
Hey man, I love it, man.
Between what happened to him in Boston and this, he looks like the kind of guy that just shoots at the hip.
He does.
No pun intended. No pun intended. But you know, I'll go ahead and start this one.
Go ahead.
I guess I'm not really going because I kind of like to poke fun at LeBron. You know,
Right.
I'm like an anti-LeBron guy. I like to call LeBron out whenever I get the opportunity to do so. But in this one, I'm going to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say he truly is affronted by when that word is used in that context. I've watched a lot of videos because there's a lot of this on YouTube. Like if you go on YouTube and just look up trash talking in NBA games, there's a lot of these sleuths who are really good. Like they have the captions in the video to go along with the lips of what everybody in the video is saying. So LeBron has been featured in a lot of these videos, and I've seen a bunch of them, and I haven't seen one where LeBron is talking like that. Now LeBron cusses and trash talks, but when it comes to like using that word specifically, particularly in the context like that, there aren't too many examples of LeBron talking like that. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he does feel some type of way. But at the end of the day, LeBron feeling like he's like the century for the NBA, he's going to come and, be the security guard and check Ime Udoka on this. To me, that's funny. Because like, why does he care? But if he feels some type of way about Ime Udoka saying that they playing like some bees, then I guess he was well within his right to tell him as such. It's just interesting the power in the NBA that LeBron still has. I believe that if that was another player who did that, the ref would not have teed up Ime Udoka. I think the ref teed up Ime Udoka and kicked him out of the game subsequently because it was LeBron who was there doing the chin checking. If that was Anthony Davis who was there doing the chin checking, I feel like they just would have trash talked each other and the ref would have been like standing there maybe to make sure that it didn't escalate. But Woody would have teed him up for a second time and ejected him. I don't think so. I think the ejection occurred because it's LeBron, and LeBron is like mafioso in the NBA, and he typically gets his way. And so the ref was like, oh, LeBron's here. Let me like not get on LeBron's bad side. Oh, you call LeBron soft ass boy? Okay, ejection. And, this is LeBron exerting his will, the will that he has in the NBA. Some people say that it's earned. I don't believe that. But be that as it may, to me, this is the LeBron effect. He got a head coach kicked out of the game. But hey, better that LeBron gets a head coach kicked out of the game than get a head coach fired, which he is also capable of doing. So,
yeah, I hear that, man, and I think it's kind of like, I mean, if you worked at a job for 20 plus years, bro, you're gonna have some pull.
Hey man, I was not to cut you off, but I was a cook. It depends on what the job is. It depends on what the job is, because if it's a true, okay, so like we call things like I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
Modern day slavery and things of that nature, right? But it depends on what you're doing. Because I worked for 10 plus years at a restaurant and I had no pull. It didn't matter how hard I worked or what I contributed. If I wanted to get a particular day off, they denied me. If I wanted to get a raise, they denied me. If I wanted to get an early night out where I don't have to close, they told me no. And mind you, I worked in this place for over 10 years, slicing my fingers and burning myself.
Boy.
And if I asked for time off on a holiday or a weekend, they would tell me no. So it depends on what the situation is.
Yeah, you was working on you was on an actual slave ship, bro. So
literally,
that was like, I mean,
literally.
after about 6 months somewhere, I started to get a little pull, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But I ain't got enough pull to get you hired. Okay, so I'm not that guy. I'm not the person that, hey, bro, put me on. Well, I can't do that. I can pull some inner work politics for you because I be getting some pull like that. But yeah, I've been places for like a few years, and you know what I'm saying? I got some pull now because I don't have big time pull, but I got enough pull to get somebody ejected. You know what I'm saying? So, so I think LeBron doing this for 20 plus years, because you should have seen the look on his face too after he got that last T. You know what I'm saying? And it looked like LeBron was like, calling him the B word, and is, like low key, like, yeah, got your ass. Bye.
That's what yes.
That's what it looked like his face was. But I'll be honest with you, bro. I mean, I get he is a grown ass man. That's what he said. Hey man, I'm a grown ass man. He got grown ass kids. He been doing this for a long ass time. Don't call me a bitch. I think he's got the right to stand up for himself like that. But I don't know how much you do have the right to stand up for yourself when you is crying like bitches. Like, what are we doing? See, you talk about fair and all this other stuff and all. Yeah, hey man, hey, I wish we live in a world where we can't. Honestly, we should just live in a world where we just start calling spades spades. And honestly, bro, LeBron a flop like the best of them. He'll cry like the best of them. And to me, that's some bitch assness. So I don't mind somebody calling that out. That's honestly one of my biggest gripes with LeBron is how much he cries for being 6'8", 250, whatever the hell he is. And so he do too much crying, too much flopping. And so for I'm pretty sure Udoka done seen enough of this back from when he was a player, assistant coach, head coach, and just seeing him and his cronies, crying and complaining. Y'all are Lakers, bro. Y'all are stacked compared to us. Why y'all crying? I don't care, bro. I done said some stuff on the basketball court before. I didn't call nobody, a B word, but I may have said stop acting like a bitch. I ain't gonna lie. But that don't mean I'm calling you one. Just stop acting like one. And if somebody said that to me while I was, complaining about a foul or whatever, man, I'd be like, bro, whatever. But for him to get all bold in his face like that, hey man, I'm a grown ass man. But again, bro, there's something that happens, bro. When you hit a certain age, you just don't play certain garbage. And that might be just something for him that's like, you know what, bro, I'm too old for this. Now, you could have said that when I was a jit, but I'm really damn near 40, bro. You can't talk to me like that. So it is what it is, man. But if you damn near 40, stop crying and flopping, bro. And then maybe ain't nobody gonna call you out your name.
Yep, I agree 1,000%. I wasn't even gonna go there, but it was definitely what I was thinking. LeBron complains to refs incessantly.
Yeah, dog.
Acts like he got shot by a bullet from a 12-gauge shotgun, embellishing foul calls. He does that. He does that with the best of them on the court. And so I feel like it is ironic that he is going to a head coach talking about having a problem with this. And like, I agree as well. I draw a distinction between someone directly calling me a bitch,
right,
and someone saying stop acting like a bitch. and Ime Udoka is saying stop crying like bitches or acting like bitches or whatever he said.
Right.
And it's like, hey man, I get it. You don't like the word being used anywhere in your vicinity. Fine. But you also do a lot of flopping and crying to referees all the time.
Come on, bro. Come on.
All the time. So just get over yourself. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about that. But LeBron is mafioso in the NBA. He'll get a coach ejected. If LeBron can get a coach fired, the least he can do is get a coach ejected. And I'm not saying that his intention was to get the man ejected, but that's just his influence.
Right.
He interjects himself into the situation. He's conflicting with somebody who already has a T. There's a decent chance the ref is going to be like, oh, LeBron's here. Let me go ahead and diffuse the situation and issue another T. And, got the man ejected from the game. It's weird old stuff, but hey, bro, that's modern NBA. But yeah, LeBron to me is whatever. He does a lot of crying, flopping, complaining to referees. Every time he drives to the hole, he's getting fouled. Every time is always a missed call. He's always asking, where's the foul? It's one complaint after the next with him and the referees. And it's like, bro, if you're really the greatest player of all time, stop doing all of that complaining.
And bro, I mean, just last season, bro, I think he was playing against Denver or something, and he was guarding Jokic or something, and Jokic did some type of move, and LeBron did the most extra diving into the audience, then popcorn or something got on him, and he just looking at it like, yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get for being so extra. And at that time, he's 37, 38, whatever years old. When he a grown ass man at that point, acting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a poodle. So yeah, man, I don't care for that, man. Just grow up, bro. So if you want to be treated like a grown ass man as you claim, then act like a grown ass man on the court when somebody slapped your arm.
Yeah.
And don't go flopping around like you hollering domestic violence.
Right.
Because at that point, somebody gonna call you out your name, bro.
Yeah.
So hey, man, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I get standing up for yourself. But at some point, you got to look in the mirror if you LeBron. So,
well, if there's one thing that we know about these people, these athletes and these entertainers, the one thing that the majority of them don't have is self-awareness. That's the one thing that the majority of them lack is self-awareness.
Don't shoot the messenger, y'all.
There's a small percentage of them who actually have the wherewithal to sit there and say, okay, what changes can I make and how am I contributing to this? They all think that they're just being done wrong all the time, even if they're billionaire superstar athletes.
Shout out to LeBron though, anyway, man.
And shout out to Ime Udoka, who looks like he knows how to coach, because he got them boys in Houston playing hard and winning games that they shouldn't win. So shouts out to him. You can have that LeBron shit.
Hilarious.
And last up, we are going to talk about comments made by up and coming rappers. I guess that's what you can call them.
Well, whatever this is.
Rennie Rucci and what's the other one's name?
Ken the Man.
Ken the Man, yeah. What? So the one there on the, for anyone who does not know, the one on the right is Ken the Man. The one on the left is Rennie Rucci. And they were on a podcast. What's the name of this podcast? We Playing Spades.
We Playing Spades.
We Playing Spades. So they were on a podcast called We Playing Spades, and the host of the show asked them about dating a rich man versus 9 to 5, and whether they need to date a rich man or whether they can date a guy who is 9 to 5. As you can imagine, you know how this conversation went. We'll go ahead and listen to this jibber jabber real quick, and then we'll talk about what these two individuals had to say.
On a rich man or a man that's average?
A rich man can be average, so you got to be more detailed.
That's a bar.
Well, do you?
I give some.
Would you want a 9 to 5 dude?
As long as he can take care of things a man's supposed to take care of.
Okay, if he couldn't get you the bags, the jewelry, stuff like that, but he was a great man, would you?
You can't talk to people that can get their own stuff. That's why I be saying, like, I want somebody on my level, because he gonna be let me tell you from experience. Like, I'm not speaking on nothing I haven't experienced.
Well, what if he care, he make you feel great, he just don't have the funds to do the other things.
But I haven't, because I feel like every time a man don't have the funds, then he always got some kind of little insecurity that don't fulfill.
Yeah, men are really insecure.
Like, in the funds,
a woman
is the
got
worst
money,
one.
or she got get attention.
We can't date like that. Like, y'all can date a bro. We can't date no bro, because only they just like, we can't.
Y'all want to rich average.
Oh, well, go.
Signs of the times, sir. Signs of the times, man. Hey, look. we're gonna have to start listening to the gallery. And they're speaking out loud. Now, granted, this isn't all women. These are city girls for sure. They for the streets. I'm pretty sure they talk about it in their music about how their box is for sale. I'm sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, gallery. But I think these women talk about selling their bodies and selling their time and attention for monetary gain. So so that's where we're at with these types of women. However, the rhetoric of you can't deal with a broke dude because they're insecure and all this other stuff. I'm gonna tell you this. As wild as that sounds, they are telling the truth. Now, hear me out. Now, I wouldn't call myself. Now, first of all, I'm pretty average. Now, I'm not afraid to say average, but I'm an everyday man. How about that? Make a salary to pay my rent, have a roof over my head, and nice food to eat. But that's about it. All right. So I'm an everyday man. All right. So I would be in the broke boy category, according to these women. Therefore, insecure. Now, what point are they making that I agree with? Now, this isn't all women. This is women with this philosophy, which is a large amount. And the part I agree with is these women look at men in this way, where they say he should be more focused on his money than me. He should be more focused on making money than about what I got going on. Only a broke boy would be sitting around clocking me, wondering where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm going to do it with. A guy that's really out here making his money, who's got motion, don't have time to be waiting on no female dog. So they want a man who's got this word out here that everybody's using is motion. To piggyback on old adage that Lil Wayne loves to say. Shout out to Lil Wayne. But money over female dogs is the philosophy that these types of women want to see from their type of men. The sad part about it is you don't have to be some type of rapper like these women are to feel this way. There's everyday women who have this philosophy. So my word too for any guys out there, that if you encounter a woman who has city girl logic, sorry, city girls, but if you're encountering any of this kind of logic, fellas, then at that point, you have to put whatever you got going on over her, the money, over the slores mentality. And that at that point, that's the only way they're going to see you and respect you, is by not giving a damn what they're doing, not caring what they're doing, and doing 100% you. So these types of women have their type, and that's their type. If you're not that kind of guy, you don't want to be that kind of guy, or you don't want to deal with city girls, then none of these philosophies apply. These philosophies apply for these fast ass women. And there's just a lot of fast ass women out here nowadays. So if you got one in your hand, sir, all right, I suggest you not give a damn what she does and do 100% you. You'll be surprised the results that you get. At least that's my thoughts on this one. But how do you feel about Ken the Man? I don't know where that name comes from. And Ruki Hana, whatever her name is over there, and their philosophy on dating average men.
I'm not buying it. That was all of that you just said there. That was cool. I'm not buying it.
Really?
No, I'm not buying it. I think that they're full of shit.
Really?
All they care about is income. All of that other stuff that they was talking about is irrelevant. See, what women like that do is they're see, it's ironic that they talk about the insecurities of a broke guy or a guy who can't do anything, because they themselves are insecure. Because if they were more secure in who they were, then they would just proudly admit to the fact that what they care about is a man who makes a lot of money. All of these other circumstances about insecurities and man, what can he do and not do, and not worrying about me and what I got going on, all of that is just flowery language to make it seem like their philosophy is reasonable. It's a lie. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just want the income. You want to know how I know this? Ask any of them a question. Would you date an insecure man who's rich over a man who is firm and secure in himself, but a 9-to-5 guy? I guarantee you they will date the insecure rich man. So if they will date the insecure rich man over the guy who is firm in himself, who ain't gonna be insecure, who ain't gonna be checking up on you, who is about his business, he just happens to reside in a tax bracket that is not rich man, and they'll still date the rich guy. What does that say about their whole insecurity rhetoric? It doesn't wash. I don't buy it. It's bullshit. What they care about is income. And you want to know something? What makes this even more BS? And see, women like this aren't that smart. Okay. And furthermore, the guys who are on that show with them, shouts out to Waka Flocka, by the way. If I was on that show, and I mentioned this in a topic that we did before, you need to get specific with me. I'm going to grill your ass, okay? Because either you know what you're talking about, or I'm going to expose you for your lack of logic. Because if you want to talk about what is broke, we need to dissect that. What is broke? Because if broke to you is $95,000 a year, $100,000 a year, or just simply not being a rapper or a hip hop person, then you have a very distorted idea of what broke actually is. So we need to qualify what you even mean by broke. Furthermore, you want to say that a guy who can't make it or who isn't doing this monetarily is somehow insecure, as if those two things are correlated.
Correct.
Okay, well, then how do you explain people like Harvey Weinstein and Puff Daddy and Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump? How do you explain all of these men who have all of the money in the world and who wreak insecurity?
Right.
And use their money and power as a way to wield their insecurity as a weapon.
Agreed.
Because one thing about me, I don't feel the need to control you if I have no insecurities. And according to you, I'm broke. So you would date Puff Daddy before you dated me. Puff Daddy's a rich man. Puff Daddy also, allegedly, by all appearances, reeks of insecurity. All of these allegations coming out now about his alleged abuse and his controlling ways and his manipulative nature. Puff Daddy got more money than God, damn near a billionaire, creating TV stations all over the place. But according to your logic, he shouldn't be insecure because he can afford to do whatever the hell he wants. So which is it? Is it about insecurity? Is it about a man actually manning? Or is it about the money? I think women like this are full of shit. It's only about the income. And they are bringing up all of this other stuff to make it seem like they've thought this thing out through and everything that they have to say makes sense. It doesn't. They're full of shit. Period. In exclamation, end point. I don't give a damn. Women like this are full of shit. And I do agree with you. It's not all women, but it's a sizable percentage of women who harbor this kind of mentality, this kind of mindset. And they need to be called to the carpet for the modern day prostitutes that they are. All they care about is income. They'll date an insecure rich man before they date the hardworking working class guy who is secure in himself. Period. I don't give a damn what. So you can convince me all, not you, but I'm just saying in general. Y'all can convince me of all of this stuff that you want about all of this stuff that they have to say. At the end of the day, it's only about the income. Furthermore, this is the last thing that I'll say. This speaks to, see, women like this, when they talk, you just got to let them keep talking. Because like Jay-Z said in Dig a Hole, hey man, you put yourself in the air. All I did was kick away the chair. These women will talk themselves into being exposed for the ridiculous rhetoric that they maintain. You claim that you want to be with a guy who makes the money because those are the types of men who are secure. They lack insecurities, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, then your experience, because she even said the kin the man chick, she said, listen to me because I'm telling you from experience. Okay, so what that tells me is what you've been dealing with is men who are insecure. That has nothing to do with a man having money or lack thereof and what that means for their insecurities or lack thereof. That means that you, in particular, can't get out of your own way and you choose poorly. You have a penchant for choosing insecure men.
Yes.
So how do you want to reconcile the fact that you have poor choice in men by saying, well, if I suck with the way that I choose men, I might as well get a dude who got money because I'm shitty when it comes to my choices anyway. So let me reconcile my shitty choices by getting with a guy who has the money when really you need to be trying to figure out how to make better choices.
Agreed.
So you can miss me with all of that bullshit about insecurity, this and what men need. I don't want to hear that. Okay, all of that to me is nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense. They're lucky a guy like me don't run a show like that. I'll be hurting these chicks' feelings. I really would, because you're not gonna get away with that. You're not gonna get away with that. But I'm not buying it. She's full of shit. Both of them are. But that kin, the man one, the one who's doing the majority of the talking, is the one who's the most full of shit. There is no correlation between insecurity, security, and money. All they care about is income, and they need to be honest about that shit instead of making it seem like they're looking for money because money indicates all of these other intangible qualities.
I mean, I agree, but here's the thing. So when you're dealing with these ladies of the evening, the bottom line is they just want the bottom line. They just want the money. I agree with that. So all of this other talk about being secure and all this other stuff, that just ruins the experience of just trying to live with the lifestyle. They want to just live the lifestyle of a rich person, of a rich man. They want to live that life without having a spot blown up. They still want to hop dick. They still want to go do all that. They still want to play all their games. A man that's got this is what they want, and this is what I was trying to explain. Now, that's what I'm saying. These types of women aren't for everybody. All right. Now, these are the high end of the spectrum because they're rapper women. But again, this city girl philosophy, goes to the girl that work at Home Depot.
Yes.
So when we're dealing with that, these girls just want to see you be active getting money. Period. Be active getting money. Period. You're so active on getting money that you don't care you're not looking at what she's doing. They insecure is one of the biggest, inflammatory things. Yeah, they just use it. All right. But what do they mean by insecure? Whenever they call a man insecure, you're not being insecure. You're just calling him out on their BS. So, but if you're so active, you got other women, you getting more money, you got operations and stuff that you're working on, that enough so that you don't care about whatever she's doing. She just wants to reap the benefits, and just attach to you like a damn barnacle in the ocean and just take. Then that's their whole philosophy. Their philosophy doesn't make sense. It only makes sense to them. So this is why I was saying, if you're a guy who deals with these women, because sometimes dudes just can't help it because there's so many, you throw a dart, you land on one of these girls. And they don't have to be on the high end spectrum of a city girl. Like I said, she can be at your job, bruh. As soon as you get to talking to her, she using all these buzzwords, but she just ain't putting them on a record. So when you're dealing with these loose ass women of the evening who just want to do whatever they want, have they side dudes, have they rosters, have all that extra stuff going on, they want to attach to your lifestyle, still live that lifestyle while they still get to have their cake and eat it too. Right. So that's these women. So, but the ideal man that they want to attach themselves to don't care about what they doing. They buy them the bag, they take them on the trip, they have sex with them, they do whatever, then they're gone. And they're not checking in on what they're doing. Why? Because she wants another dude that does the same thing and live on that lifestyle and do all that and just live a lifestyle of grandness where she's leeching off dudes and nobody's blowing up her spot because she's a whore. And that's all I'm saying. So so they're right in their philosophy. Do they make sense in the real world? Hell no. And that's why I agree with you in the aspect of, no, they're full of shit, and because these things don't correlate, just because you got a bag. But that's why she made a point, and that's why Waka Flocka said that's a bar. Just because you got cash don't mean you ain't average.
Yeah, but then she undercut that initial statement with everything she said after that.
That's also true. But but that's what I'm saying. So, at the end of the day, yeah, just because you got a bag, just like he brought up Puff Daddy, he got a bag, he get into the bag, but he still need his weirdo parties, and he's still doing all that weird stuff with Cassie allegedly. So you just because you got a bag don't mean you ain't Jeffrey Epstein. I get you, bro. You're making a lot of sense. But I'm just saying, for the regular, average, everyday dude, hey man, and this is why there's a whole movement of do yourself, kings, do your thing, get your money, believe in yourself, invest in yourself, and leave these charlatans in the wind, man. And if you just keep doing that and pressing forward, realize that you have a charlatan. If you want to put a quarter in that vending machine, bro, fine, bro. Put your quarter in, get out. Don't hang out with this. Don't do whatever, but get to your bag. And I think that ultimately that's what it is. I mean, of course, reserve yourself out for the women who don't have this philosophy, but hey, good luck, man, because most women out here are on this page. So.
Okay, that's fine. I hear you. I'm just
it's sick. No, it's sick, bro.
I hear what you're saying. I just not. I hear that. That's fine. It's just I'm having trouble with the connection between getting to the bag and not worrying about what you're doing, because it doesn't matter. Like, if you're getting to the bag, you'll still be worrying about what she's doing. So at the end, not you, I'm just saying it's still a thing. So what I'm saying is, I really don't think any of I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think you're giving them more credit than they deserve. I don't think that they're thinking it that far through. I think that they're just literally being dishonest. All they want is a dude that make money. They don't care if he's checking on them or not, or doing any of that stuff. They don't care. They don't care. They just want him to make the bread. They just want to be able to get the bread so that they can live their glamorous hip hop type lifestyle. That's what they are seeking.
Listen, they look in the mirror. When you're dealing with these women, they look in the mirror every day and know that they a hoe. And then they're trying to do everything in the world to tell everybody else that they ain't one. And the goofy dude who believes that she ain't a hoe, she got his ass, and she don't respect him. She just want to do. This is a weird thing with these people, bro. They just want to do that knows she a hoe and treat her like one. Girl, go do whatever you want. I'm not going to be blowing you up. You a hoe.
I hear that. What I am suggesting is there's just no connection between that type of behavior and what kind of a bag that he had. I'm just struggling. Like, I'm struggling to calculate where the connection is between what you're saying and money. Right. That's all I'm saying. And so my general point is, because I can't make that connection, to me, it does not have anything to do about that type of mindset, and it has everything to do about the fact that they just want the income. That's all I'm saying. And I feel like speaking like this, where you're trying to make it seem like it's all this well thought out philosophy because men like that are insecure. And I need you to, because you're unraveling her words. And I am saying quite literally, she doesn't even know what she's saying. And she's lying. You're giving her philosophy more credit than it deserves. You're thinking her shit out more than she does. No, she's lying, literally, and all she wants is a guy who makes money. That's all she wants. She doesn't care about whether a guy is doing any of that stuff you're talking about. She just wants to be in a relationship with a dude who's getting to the bag, period. That's it. That's as far as she thinks it through. Everything else that she is talking about is a lie. Therefore, if it is a lie, you're giving credence to something that is rooted in the foundation of a lie. That's what I'm saying. And although I hear what you're saying because it's sensible, it is nevertheless based upon the foundation that is a lie. She's lying. She doesn't care about any of that stuff. She just wants the bag, bro. And I'm tired of these women being given a platform to talk bullshit like this. Because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I get it. You're a very intelligent, insightful individual. and I hear what you are saying. I think you're giving her more credit than she deserves. She ain't calculating it like that. She's sitting around here saying, I just want a nigga with this bag. That's what she's saying. And when she goes onto a podcast and somebody asks her a question like that, do you need a dude who's rich or get into the bag, or would you date a 9-to-5? She's alert enough to understand that publicly saying outright, I just want a dude who's going to get to the bag, will make her look like a prostitute. And so she's going to at least save herself the embarrassment of coming out looking like that by coming up with a weirdo way to substantiate why she feels like the guy with the bag is where she needs to be. And it's ridiculous. It's bullshit.
Hey, I'll just, this is my last parting words, all right? And let us know in the comment section, guys. What do y'all think? But this is my last parting words, all right? I honestly believe all hoes know that they're hoes, and they live with that. And if you treat her like she's not a hoe, when she knows that she's a hoe, she don't respect you, and then she gonna start calling you every name in the book. You treat a hoe like a hoe, then she'll respect you. And that's all I got to say about that.
I don't disagree with that. I think that is factual. I think that that's factual. I'm just saying that when the hoe goes onto a podcast and gets asked whether you're a hoe, she's going to say no, but here's why I do what I do. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. And then she can say what I don't believe her. I'll still, because it's like Brittany Renner. The only people that believe it are the suckers.
Yes.
So she's lying. Yes. But what is she really saying? Treat me like the hoe that I know I am. And that's my message. At least
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Let us know. Let us know in the chat, y'all. Let us know in the chat.
No, they need to get off the screen now. I'm tired of talking.
Man, we're gonna have to set something up one of these days and get some of these charlatans in here. So you can sit there and grill them the way that I'm gonna sit here and laugh, bro.
Just don't. I've said before, do not put lipstick on a pig and then try to tell me that it's cute. The pig is a pig. Period.
Facts.
I can't stand it when these women talk like this. I'd have more respect for her if she said, no, I don't want to date a 9-to-5 guy. I need to date a rich man. Don't give me your bullshit logic. Just tell me you need a dude who makes the bag. I don't want to hear that, because if it's about insecurity, that's not correlated with money. It's not.
But like I said, just get to the bag, and then you can have the hoes or the wholesome women. The bottom line is get to the bag, guys. So just get to the money.
That we do agree on. We do agree on that. We'll go ahead and close out tonight's stream. That was a lively one to end it. As always, my name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. Con Approach on Instagram at Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. Conscious Approach on the Facebook /Meta page. Like and follow. Subscribe to the channel, man. Like us. Like the video. Let us know what you thought about the commentary in this or any other video. We certainly appreciate it as we continue to get this thing rocking and rolling. Great week on the channel. Much appreciation to all of the new subs. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate you checking out our videos. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about what we had to say. What else do I want to say? Oh, hey, to my Seminoles, next year is a new year. It sucks, but that's life, man. It is not fair. Fairness does not exist. You see, I'm wearing my garnet colors in solidarity. I'm with you. But next year is a new year. Until then, stay solid. Think for yourself, and we'll catch you on the next video.
And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram, all right, at Dogon_SS, and on YouTube at Dogon_SS, and also on TikTok, bro. Dogon_SS over there as well, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no videos in nothing, but my comments be going crazy, bro. So come follow your boy over there, man. And as I say on every pod, guys, all right? Don't be too high. Don't be too low. Keep it calm. Keep it chill. Keep it player. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot, especially these ratchets. Hey, go Canes for life. Next year's our year, bro. Fall back. Y'all had y'all chance.
Get out of here.
Hey, we in the building, man. We'll catch y'all on the flip side, man. Skrr.
Yeah, get that quarterback to get that broken arm fixed up first.
Hey man, we done this, bro. Cam
Yeah,
Ward.
go Heat, go Dolphins, reek for MVP. And until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side. We out of there. Peace.
Peace.